Hey guys, welcome back. I'm going to make another video today. In my last video we installed two packages next to my survivor stock from winter. Today all we're going to be doing is checking on how much sugar water they've got, and just to verify that the queen has actually left her queen cage, because when we installed the bees last time, the queen remained inside a cage. So today we're just going to make sure that she's out and that the colony has enough food. So typically I like to smoke the bees a little bit in the front entrances before I start. If you could look closely at these bees, you'd see a lot of them already have a lot of pollen that they're coming back to the hive with. So they're doing a great job of going out and foraging. And you see here, they're eating the sugar water. There's still plenty of food here for them. So things seems to be going pretty well so far. This can came with the package of bees. It's empty. There's two little holes on the very bottom here that the bees will go and they'll put their tongue in there to suck out whatever sugar water they can get. Alright, so this is exactly why you got to come in here pretty quickly to get that last frame put back in. And I realized I forgot my hive tool back in the garage. So I'm going to have to go back and get that real quick. Okay, so this is kind of an interesting thing here that bees do. Inside a beehive, they have something called bee space. And essentially, every row of honeycomb that they make, and all the space within the hive, is a very specific distance in between each honeycomb. And so these hives are made to accommodate that bee space. And when we first installed our queen, we had to remove one of the frames, if you remember, so that we could put the queen box in here. Now what happened was, in less than a week, they went in and started to make a new frame, or new wax and comb right here, off of the frame, which is exactly what we do not want them to do. So what we're going to have to do now is go in there and remove it and put the original frame back in the hive. It was kind of a cold week, so I didn't get a chance to come out here earlier to take care of it properly. And so now this is what we got to deal with. So if you look on the end of this guy now, it's got a huge hole, and if you look inside, there's no queen. There are a couple bees in there I see, but they're not queens. So we can just set that aside for now. I can tell right now this is not going to be a pleasant experience for anybody. So you do want to be careful you don't hurt the queen, but she's often very hard to find. If I see her, I'll let you know. So basically this comb here is what we're going to be getting rid of. So if you can see that, that's new comb they just built today or this week. This whole slice here has got to go. And it's just barely attached. As I look down this frame as well, it also has some comb that we need to get rid of. And what I'll probably do is I'll just leave this inside the top of the hive, so if there's any honey or pollen or anything they want out of it, they'll take it out and they'll repurpose it. They'll move it around the hive. If you look closely here, you should see some wet, kind of glossy honey here. This is all nectar that they've already started to build and create. So I'm just going to put everything back together. You want to be careful not to crush any bees if you can avoid it. And then what I'll do now is I'll take that frame that we pulled out when we installed the package and just put it back in. And now all the bee space is returned back to how they're used to it. All the space is kind of just perfect for these bees, and they won't build extra comb where we don't want the comb to be at. Leave that all alone. I'll put their food back on. And the first one's done. What we're trying to do is just take out the queen box and get the bee space back to normal, so they don't make a whole lot of honey and honeycomb where we don't want it. Now what we'll do is the same thing on this side. What the bees will do in here too is they go through and they glue everything together, which is why you need a hive tool to kind of pop everything back apart. Now this is another can. It's totally empty again, so they're done eating that. I already refilled this once this week, so they've already eaten a full jar, and now they've eaten almost all of this. Now we got another situation where they built comb in here again. So if you learn anything from this video, know that you shouldn't wait a whole week before you go back into the hive, or you run the risk of having to deal with the extra comb. Totally empty. All the candy sugar is gone that was in the middle of that end of that plug there. But again, because we've kind of broken the rule of bee space. The bees have gone in and started building comb where we don't want it. So when you start a new hive that doesn't have any comb at all, you got to go into your hive all the time to fix this, because there's tons of extra space in there before they get a chance to establish themselves. Now we're just gently pulling off some of this extra comb that we don't need in there. I'm not really looking for the queen, but if I see her, I'll let you know. While I'm in here as well, I'll take a look to see if I see any eggs that the queen might have laid. And I don't see any eggs on that. Yeah, you can tell there's a lot more bees in this one than that last one. So what I'm doing is I'm looking down inside the cells, and I'm looking for little white lines, which would be the eggs. And I don't see any yet. I can tell the bees are getting a little antsy. I don't want to spend too much time in here bothering them. But I will look at just one more frame. See if I can see any evidence of a laying queen yet. Yep. So, let's see if I can show you guys this. So inside just about all of these cells is a faint white line that's an egg. They're a little bit easier to see on the dark background. And so all the other worker bees will feed that egg pollen and honey until it's big enough. It's essentially what they call pupate. Kind of morphs into a bee basically from a worm to a bee. So we got a little bit of a problem here too. It'll take a little bit more time to fix. On the back side of this, they started to build some comb as well, which is another effect of not having all 10 frames in the hive. So what we're going to do is want to clean that off as good as we can, or else we'll start building it back again. Okay, so that feels a lot better. Bees are being pretty patient with me. They're definitely not bothering me. Usually what they'll do is they'll come and start to hit your arms, hit your head as a warning shot, like, hey, if you don't leave, I'm going to sting you. But for the most part, they're in a pretty good mood. So I could have done all of this without my veil on today, but it only takes one bee to kind of ruin your day. So I normally always wear it if I'm going to do this much work inside the hive. Really didn't use very much smoke either. that's pretty much it for this video. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Hope you guys are staying safe during this pandemic. Remember, wash your hands and save the bees. Thanks, guys.
Mm-hmm.